whenever you suspect somebody who has a spinal cord injury, all right? What are some of the protocols for spinal cord injury? For someone going on the backboard? BC one, yes. Okay. What are some of the reasons why they would go on the backboard? Car accident, a fall.
Spinal cord injury.
So if I was standing right here and I fell right here, would I stay
About
8 feet? So if I fell right here, you wouldn't put me in a backboard?
I might. Good. Depends on how you
What if on my way down, I hit this metal stand right here, and now I'm complaining that I can't feel my feet?
Let's see.
Okay, so basically, there are these protocols that are stepped in there, but you must also ask the patient what's going on, right? What's your chief complaint? You're doing a full head to toe. You're running their spine. Maybe you feel step off. Okay, then we're going to neurological. PMSCs. Every single time we restrict an extremity, we're always going to check the PMSCs of those extremities, the upper and the lower. Of course, you're doing the full head to toe, but we're really emphasizing on PMSCs before and after you're restricting an extremity, okay? So, when you place this person on a backboard, they're going to be strapped down, and we're going to restrict their extremities, their lower extremities. So let's go ahead and check those. Their upper extremities, we're restricting them because we're putting on a seat collar, so this could technically do so. So in that event, we want to go ahead and check upper extremities before and bottom extremities before and after the application of anything, all right? So that means if I put on a Band-Aid on the finger, do I check the distal functions of that finger before I put the Band-Aid on? Yes. And after I put the Band-Aid on, I check the distal functions again. Distal functions are what? Pulse, motor, sensory, capillary flow within what? Within
2 seconds.
in 10 seconds. Don't listen to her. Okay. Again, remember in lab we can make mistakes. For example, okay. So there we go. Within what? 2 seconds. Okay, there we go. All right. Go ahead and stand for a minute. Let's fix it. So this particular type of seat collar right here is adjustable. This one's made by Ambu. All right. Now there are different ones made out there. So once you get a seat collar, make sure you look at it and get yourself familiarized with it. This one here is really simple. This one is used a lot, but it also comes in this clear plastic bag. Once you open it, the very first thing you do is you must flip over the chin piece. Okay? Because I've seen some people with the seat collar on without the chin piece on, and that's horrible. All right? You guys should not ever make that mistake. So automatically, as soon as you open up the bag, first thing you do, flip over the chin piece. On this particular model, most models are already standard and they're already in place, so you don't have to worry about it. This one's adjustable, and how are we going to measure the adjustment on this patient? Super easy. The patient will be laying down or standing, whatever. Okay, but what you're going to do is you're going to use your fingers. You're going to place it on the lower jaw, right here, the lower jaw, the lower mandible, to the trapezius muscle, all right, to the shoulder. That's where you're going to measure. So you can take your hand and you're going to place it against the lower jaw and the trapezius muscle. Okay, lower jaw, trapezius muscle. If you need to delete a finger, go ahead. If you need to add a finger, add your thumb. But it's going to be your hand, all right? So you're not going to tell somebody, hey, listen, go measure for me, and then they tell you. Because, open your hand. Okay? So you got this man hands. His hands are bigger than my hands. So his measurement's going to be off than mine, all right? So therefore, you must measure against the patient, and then you must measure the seat collar. This one right here has 2 little round cotter pins, right? Pull those suckers out. Has these 2 little butterfly releases here. As soon as I hear all 4 snap off, it becomes adjustable. Okay. How do I adjust it to the patient? Super easy. I have a black line right here that says Ambu, the manufacturer's name. I'm going to measure that as the lower mandible. That black line is my reference. Then I'm measuring to the hard plastic. Never measure to the neoprene, which is the pliable material, because this moves, so therefore it's not a true measurement. So I'm going to place my finger here, my index right against that line, which I believe is the lower mandible. I'm going to close it to the point where it matches up to my fingers, and as soon as I get my proper measurement, right, then I close all 4 pins, the 2 round ones, the 2 butterflies. Now it's locked in place. When I place this onto the patient, they're going to be most likely in the supine position, which is the what? Lying down on their back, facing up. So I'm going to place the towel underneath. For example, please lay down. okay? Once we go to a patient, we're going to have, of course, two people with us. One person's the attendee, one person's the driver, right? I'm going to call the driver in, say, hey, listen, actually, come in, go ahead and hold inline stabilization. What he's going to do is going to squat down, kneel down, sit down, depending upon environment, all right? If this is a very bad traffic collision, very bad, TC, very bad industrial accident, and there's blood everywhere, do we want to kneel down? No, you're going to squat down. But say the patient's not bleeding or whatnot, we're on dry asphalt, or whatever. Can you kneel down? Sure, all right? But again, if there's blood, if there's pathogens, you want to watch out for that stuff, because once you kneel down into it, now it's soaked up into your pants. And what if you have a cut on your leg? It's going to seep through, it's going to get to you, all right? And then you're going to take home whatever that person has. And they look at you and go, yeah, I got fucking bit by a zombie. You're done, dude. And the next here comes the big knife. Got chop off your head, right? So he's going to hold inline stabilization. He's going to go, and this is his only job, to hold physical inline stabilization. Now, other people are going to tell you different things. Like, I used to have this one argument with another instructor at somewhere else, and they used to love kind of like crouching down, and they had their arms, and using their forearms, like put your hands against the trapezius, if we use our forearms, and they would use the forearms to stabilize the head. And I'm looking at him like, fuck, you're insane. There's no way in the world. So, because why? Because what are we in? We're in the summer months. Are you going to be laying down with your forearms touching the ground? And now you're so way over the patient, just like you see those people at buffet lines where they're cutting the roast beef and they're sweating all over it, right? That's nasty. So that's what you're doing. Now you're sweating all over the patient's face. Of course, are they going to enjoy that? No, they're probably going to get aggravated and they're going to start moving their head. We're trying to prevent them from physically moving their head. So you're going to squat down. Okay, we're just putting blood all over the place. You're going to squat down. And you're placing your hands on the side of the patient's head. We're not squeezing. We're not pushing. We're not trying to move. We're just simply placing our hands on the side of the head. And the whole time, he's talking to the patient. Hey, listen, just keep your head still. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of you. Because who knows, maybe he has family members all sprawled all over the place. So he's worried about them. Say, listen, you got to keep your head still. We're going to take care of you, all right? So, any questions about that? Does he move for any reason whatsoever? Does he let go for any reason whatsoever? What if he just finished eating lunch at Tommy's and that chili's going straight through him? He got to do his shat, right? And he needs to go. Is he going to let go? What if a bee comes around and stings him right in the eyeball? He's going to suck it up, right? He's going to stay there because, again, as soon as you place your hands onto the patient, you have control of that patient. You don't let go until relieved. Now, how do we relieve this person? Super easy. Okay, we're going to bring in another EMT because for some reason, I don't know, he had a wild night. He's not feeling too good. He shouldn't have come to work. Maybe he has a flu or whatever. He should have stayed home. But he was like, oh, we're going to tough it out, like one of those tough guys, right? But he's ready to pass out. So the partner's going to come in and he's going to call the 242. This is the only way you guys are going to transfer ownership. So right now, there's two hands on the patient's head, right? He's going to take your hands. You're going to place them over your partner's hands. So now there's two hands, four hands, and he's going to slide his hands out while he takes over ownership. Two hands, four hands, two hands. There's always going to be two hands on the patient's head at all times. Got that? So 2, 4, 2. You can only do that. Okay, go ahead and take over ownership again. Two hands, four hands. He slides his hands out. Two hands, 2, 4, 2. That's the only way you guys are going to ever properly release control of the patient's head. Anything else is not acceptable. You guys got that? Remember, do not let go. During the final, if you let go for some reason, you fail. All right. If you're bobbling around and you got to use your hand to support yourself, fail. All right. It's simple as that. So if you can't do it here, you make mistakes here and you let it continue. You're probably going to do it out there in the real world. So remember, do not let go of the patient's head. All right. So then we're going to have the seat collar. It's already been measured, right? I'm going to take it and I'm going to place it underneath the patient over here. I'm using the tail. I'm going to place it underneath the patient's neck. We're never lifting the patient's head. You guys got that? So I place the tail underneath. I reach underneath. I grab that tail. I'm going to bring it about halfway. And once I do so, I'm going to take the seat collar, bring it around. See how he's adjusting his hand so it doesn't get stuck underneath, but he's still not letting go. You can adjust all you want, but just don't let go. I'm placing the seat collar in. I'm going to Velcro it on after I make sure that the proper measurement is done and that it's notice I didn't cinch it down around his neck. I'm not trying to make it as tight as possible, but it needs to be there nice and secure. And if you look, you have these little markers here on the C-collar. This little pin right here that secures the chin piece in, and this other marker right here. Just imagine that's going down the midline of your patient. So these are your markers to make sure that's nice and stable. Because what if it's off to one side? Then, yeah, remember, inline stabilization. So we want to keep this as straight as possible. So my patient has the C-collar on, right? My PMCs are done. I'm going to get some other EMTs in here. Let me get two more to grab that board. Let's get two more in to grab that board. Okay, you're going to turn it around because we're going to make this anatomically correct. The widest portion of it is always going to be underneath the patient's shoulder. Now, but you should bring this board around. Okay, never pass anything over the patient. Okay, we want to bring things all the way around the patient. Go back on that side. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and kneel down. Okay, and they're going to execute a log roll. Oh yeah, that thing you guys learned way back when, what, about 2 weeks ago? Okay, so you guys are going to execute a log roll.